Hello and welcome to another Boulder Breakdown. We've been really busy recently, loads of setting, loads of events, but we've got a bit more time now, so hopefully getting to get stuck back into these Boulder Breakdowns. We've been tagged in loads of stuff on Instagram recently. We kind of put a shout out there to get people to tag us in interesting moves that they'd like to see in a bit more detail, and this is one of the ones that we got sent a couple of times. The climber is Oriane, famous World Cup French climber, absolutely one of the best female climbers in the world, one of the best climbers in the world. And this boulder has got a lot going on. There's like 2 separate sections to it. It's a pretty crazy boulder, so let's get stuck into it and do a really deep dive breakdown on it. Okay, so just playing through this boulder from the start, there's a few failed attempts, which is always really interesting to see. Actually, you get to see that Oriane has fallen off both sections of this boulder. Don't know how many times, but it's a really complex one. It's like a classic, complex, coordinated World Cup style boulder. Loads going on, really easy to fall off it at any point. So here we go. We got these kind of 2 sections, as you've just seen. We've got this kind of pogo stomp into a palm plant with a toe hook catch, loads going on in that single move, and some really interesting things that the set has done to make the risk factor even higher than it usually would be for that sort of move too. And then moving on, like a little bit of setup here, which looks not too bad, and then this kind of funny stamp, slow 1, 2, 3 hand flip move. Okay, so let's go through from the start. So from the start position, kind of see that we've got a pretty good, oh, my drawing tool's going away. We've got a pretty good jug, not quite down pulling, but like really comfortable starting position. Big volume as a foothold as well, so it's a pretty comfortable start position. That's really important for moves like this where Oriane's having to generate loads of momentum. You can see like in this position here, like Oriane is like got a back leg kicked back really far. She's generating tons of momentum because she's got to go a long way, kick into this move a long way and get a lot of height, a lot of distance. So move it on a little bit. You can see the first interesting thing is that often with these moves, route setters use big volumes because an easier, for feet and for hands, because it's an easier target for the climber. So moving fast and being precise on small holds is really difficult, but it's been a real trend of World Cups recently that these coordinated moves, the targets are getting smaller and smaller. So this is a really good example of this. You can see that we've got this big blue volume, but actually what Oriane has to stand on is like a small plate that's 10, 15 centimeters wide. So the route setter could have chosen to make this big volume a bit more, a bit easier to stand on. You could have just done the whole move off the volume, but they've chosen to put a volume on which is shallower, harder to stand on, and then add this plate to mean you have to increase the accuracy. And then the exact same thing has happened with the palm. This little blue jib is the thing that Oriane ends up palming on. So the complexity for the climber to complete this move, to hit that foot correctly, do this multi-stage coordinated thing, we're going to go left hand up, right palm down, left toe hook out, and to land the left foot perfectly, the right palm, and then the left foot again on the toe hook is just insane levels of coordination that, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago, the coordinated moves were like nowhere near this complex. It's amazing to see the professional, like comp-specific climbers can just nail this precision on the fast movements so well. So let's move on a little bit. We can see here that we've got this setup. Just going to go to that catch position. This is kind of the most important position, I guess. So we've got this position. It's a really interesting position. So let's try and break it down a little bit. So we've got this side pull up here, which is really angled. It's like almost vertical. And then the route setter has added some opposition with this volume, with this palm jib on it as well. Now the placement of these, the placement of these holds is really important. So they are almost in line, like, oh, bad line there, bad line. They're almost in line, so a roughly vertical line there. You can see that the opposing hand, the palm, is barely past the left hand at all. So that's going to create a lot of barn door. If this hand, the top hand, came leftward, 30 centimeters or something. Try and just, oh, have I got a pen tool here? Just try and draw it. Like if that hold was here instead, like that, then you might be able to hold that swing just with the palm opposing that. It would be a bit of like a barn door scorpion style thing, but you might have enough opposition there to hold the swing. So the further right this top hold goes, the more violent that swing is going to be. So the root setter in this case has put it really far right, kicked it really far right, and that's meant that you're going to basically not be able to hold that barn door. And then they've introduced this kind of secondary solution of this big volume with the toe hook out on the left. So it's setting these sort of moves is like a real two-stage thing. You have to create the instability. So here the root setter's pushed that top hand far enough right that that position's not stable. And then you introduce like a solution, like a stable solution. So we've here got a toe hook that's pointing that way, and that's going to oppose the handhold and stop that barn door. So really interesting to see that two stages of setting this, like make sure that position, that unstable position is right. And you don't want it too unstable. The more unstable it is, the harder it is. So you got to balance that. And then you introduce the solution. And in this case, that's the toe hook out left. So play on a little bit. We've got a few setup moves here. Oriane's like able to swing the foot out to that jib on the volume, get some opposition there, and then she's in a stable position again where she can set up for this next sequence. And then here is another kind of pogo kick move, but really different. So this one travels really laterally. The last one, Oriane pogo kicked to gain height. This time she's kicking to travel sideways. The fact that, if I just go back a little bit, the fact that this hold is almost vertical, it's super directional, and I don't think it's like a big in-cut hold. I think it's positive but flat. Means that once you travel past it at all, which way am I going? So this way? Yeah. Once you travel past it at all, you can see at this point here actually that Oriane's hand has left that hold. If that was a big in-cut jug, she could just hold onto that hold, control it all the way until she had a totally extended arm. But because it's super directional, by that I mean like not flat, it's like a side pull. And it's probably quite a flat hold. It means that by the point that Oriane's at here, where she's past that hold, she's not able to really hold onto that hold at all. So that's really good as a root setter. That's like a tool you can use to create instability. So in this case, she's moving past that hold. She's unable to control it, and she's moving fast. And then we're going to like create this kind of stable position. So I say this, create the stable position. We're a couple of kind of hand moves away from the stable position. So we've got two more here. We've got two more holds which are super, terrible line, super directional like this. And we have a foothold down here that doesn't oppose them. It's really flat ledge, and if that ledge was facing towards Oriane, she might be able to hold those holds, stamp the foot and stop there. But the root setter has made it so that you can't oppose. It's really hard for her to push this way on the ledge because it's totally flat. So she's basically got no choice but to carry on that momentum. She can only pull this way on these holds. She can't push this way on the foot because it's flat. So she's only got the choice to kind of carry on. So if you see then what she does, she kind of forced to move past those really quickly. Again, because these are like flat directional holds, she loses control of them quite fast. So you can see at this point here, where is it? About here. She's about in line with those holds, and she's starting to lose control with them there. Again, she's going to another directional hold like this, which means that she can't stop there either. And then the final stable solution that is like presented to her is that then nice and low out the way is this opposing side pull. So now finally she has one hand pulling one way, the other hand pulling the other way, and she's got stability through compression between those two handholds. So pretty crazy. That second move is pretty involved. What we got? So we got like a foot kick. That's move number one. Hand move, move number two. Second hand move, move number three. Out to the last hold, move number four. Back down, move number five. So it's like a 5-stage coordination, most of those being hand moves. And it's all about the hold choice and orientation, like directional holds, non-positive holds. If any of those holds, any of these holds were big jugs, or any of them were totally flat, the coordinated sequence would just end there. You'd be able to just control it and stop. Whereas the fact that all of them are super directional, real steep angles, means that the momentum just carries on until you finally present that. As a root set, you like present that final option of stability. In this case, it's the compression between the final two holds. So I'm gonna have one final look through the whole boulder again, just because it's pretty cool and it's good to witness Oriane kind of putting it all together. Really floaty first move. Let's have a look at the failure actually on that move. That'd be really interesting. So when Oriane doesn't manage it, it's actually the hand slipping that she thought it might be the foot, but it's the hand slipping. So in that case, you can see actually, I was talking about the accuracy. See here how her hand, like her palm's not quite set on that screw on. It's like her fingertips which are on that screw on. So you can see there that without hitting that screw on and just palming on the volume, it's like the hand's likely to slip and you can't really control the move. So that shows the level of accuracy that she's got to have. You see here, the hand just slips down when she does that move properly. Oh, there's really interesting on the second move as well. When she does that move properly, she hits that palm perfectly. Here's her failed attempt on the second move. So here she's trying to stop. So she's trying to get to that first bit. We were saying that this foothold, because of the way it is, it actually slopes away slightly like this. It's really hard to get any opposition against this handhold up here. She's trying here. She's like really trying to, I think maybe she even, oh yeah, she's like really trying to, you can actually see here. It's like you see this foot is just like, she's trying to push this way, but it's just sliding. Look at that foot sliding across the volume. She just can't get that opposition. Then she brings in this foot to try and clamp the volume. But because this hold is poor, non-positive, directional, she can't manage to stop there. So it's really interesting to see the failed attempts, and the root setters will have been through like a long process of like nailing in those things, trying those things themselves, failing in those ways themselves, or maybe managing to like cheat it and playing with the angles and orientations a little bit until it gets to the point where it's not uncheatable, but the easiest solution is the solution that Oriane ends up doing. So really cool to see the failures. Learn a lot from the failures. It's the same way in like the testing process is where you learn. That's just like constant trying, failing, altering, failing again. So yeah, really cool. Hopefully you enjoyed that boulder breakdown. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel below and follow us on Instagram as well. If you do want to know more about root setting, we've got an online root setting course which covers all the essentials of root setting. So if you're starting out, that's a great place to start. If you want to come along, we also run in-person courses. We've got some available at the moment in Sheffield in the UK, in London or near London in Southend, and in Bristol as well. So hit the link below and it'll take you to all the live course dates too. All right, see you next time.